Columbia Board of Zoning Appeals. I am Gene Dinkins Jr., Chair for the board. This time I'd like to introduce other members of the board. To my left, we've got Celia McIntosh, Catherine Finner, John Gregory, Sherrard Duvall, Marcellus Promise. We'd also like to introduce the staff that assist the board. Hope Hasty is your zoning administrator, Erica Hyen, Deputy Zoning Administrator, and Sky Robinson Barnes assist the board as well. The board is charged with hearing applications for special exceptions, variances, and administrative appeals. All testimony is recorded for the record, and anyone wishing to speak will need to be sworn in and come to the podium to speak. No testimony can be taken from the floor. When you come to the podium, state your name and please speak clearly into the microphone because the meeting is being recorded. Applicants with cases before the board are allotted a presentation time of 10 minutes. This time also includes all persons presenting information on behalf of the applicant. This time limit does not include any questions asked by the board or staff regarding the case. Any member of the public may address the board in intervals of 3 minutes or 5 minutes if you're a spokesperson for an established body or a group of 3 or more. The applicant then has 5 minutes for rebuttal. The board reserves the right to amend these procedures on a case-by-case basis. All right, those of you who plan to speak must be sworn. So if you are here as an applicant or if you're here to speak in any case, please stand at this time and raise your right hand. Okay, do you affirm or attest that the testimony you will give today is the truth and nothing but the truth? Okay, thank you. All right, this time we'll turn the meeting over to Ms. Hasty.
Good afternoon. The first thing I want to announce today is that an item on the regular agenda, 2023-0004 SE. It's a special exception request to permit a convenience store. That has been deferred by the applicant, and so we do plan to move that to the March meeting agenda instead.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll review the consent agenda. First item on the consent agenda is the approval of the January 5th, 2023 minutes. The next item is 2023-0001V, 5408 Middleton Street, the variance request to the required transitional buffer yard standard. And the next item on the consent agenda is case 2023-0002V, 6604 Christie Road. It's a variance request to the required side yard setback standard. And that concludes the consent agenda. Would the board like to remove any items from the consent agenda at this time?
Levi? Okay, we're going to take a vote on the consent agenda. Does anyone from the audience wish to remove any items from the consent agenda? Because we're getting ready to vote one way or another on this matter. Okay. All right, I'd like to ask for a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda subject to staff comments.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
All right, moving on to the regular agenda. We've got one case today, 2023-0003 SE. It's 408 and 436 Blossom Street and 519 Hugie Street and 401 Wheat Street. It's a special exception request to exceed the maximum density of bedrooms per acre for a student dormitory. And the applicant is here this afternoon to present the request.
Okay.
Thank you.
Please. Yes, please approach.
Mr. Chairman and Board, we appreciate the opportunity, and we want to especially thank all the staff of the city for all the
Please
help.
state your name real quick.
Okay, sorry. Leighton Lord, I'm with Nexon Pruitt.
Thank you.
Thanks. We want to thank all the staff for all their help in getting this project going. This is an exciting project for the city of Columbia. This project will be at one of the most important gateways to the city, and we believe it's exactly what the Innovista District envisions. A 5-story building with a beautiful facade, with some retail and hidden parking And if you drive through the Vista District or Inter-Vista District, this is exactly what it is turning out to be, which is the vision. The request before you is for a special exception to increase the density of this approximately 3.8 acres. We believe we meet all the requirements of a special exception. They're outlined in our application, and we're happy to go over any of them in detail if the board has any questions. Succinctly, we believe it will not only not cause any harm to the area, but will greatly enhance and increase the value of the area and is consistent with a similar project right across the street. What's important about why we're here today before you is the increased density is a threshold issue to the viability of this project. There is a lot of infrastructure that needs to happen to make this site work. There's a 4-foot storm drain underground that needs to be relocated. There's a sewer line that needs to be relocated, and there's a gas station on the site that needs to be remediated. Those are all things that my client, Subtext, is going to have to incur to make this project work. If this project did not have the density we were requiring, they would not be able to financially do this project, and we don't believe a project like this would be feasible. When you have millions of dollars of infrastructure that you weren't planning for, you've got to have a bigger project to make it work in the budget. And on top of that, Subtext plans to put power lines underground and do things that will beautify the area that are also, as you all know, very expensive. This site is unique, and we think it requires the kind of density that is being requested in order to make it financially viable, but also to make it the gateway that the Inter-Vista District envisions. We have talked with some of the neighbors in the Granby and Olympia area, and we know they're here today, and we respect their concerns about traffic. And we have talked to them, and we will continue to talk with the neighbors about traffic concerns. We want the traffic to be as calm and good for us as they do also. As you all probably know, student housing is a little bit different than an apartment complex. Everybody doesn't come and go at 9 in the morning and 5 o'clock at night. The traffic's more intermittent. Many students just store cars in a parking garage. There will be a 500-car garage. And we have some control of how they'll enter and exit, and we're willing to work with the city on how that comes out to make sure it is the best for the area. We also are close to the campus. We hope that kids will skateboard, scooter, and walk to campus also. We're right near Fraternity Row by the Strom Thurmond Center and by the campus as a whole. But we are committed to continuing to work with the neighborhoods, the nearby neighborhoods, to make sure that traffic concerns are alleviated. I know they've already reached out to SCDOT and the city, and we'll continue to help with those processes. Right now, unless the board has any questions, I want to introduce you to Bethany Rooney, who's with Subtext, who will give a brief overview of the company and the project.
Please do.
Bethany Rooney from Subtext Acquisitions. Thank you for hearing our request today. Subtext is a multifamily and student housing developer. We're based out of St. Louis, and we have projects all over the country, Ohio, Idaho, Wisconsin, here in South Carolina already as well. And this particular site, we did choose it because of its location. It has close proximity to the university, and it is a gateway entrance into the community. And we're looking forward to the design of our building in helping that that gateway view as you come into a community. So we're looking forward to that. We've been working closely with the city already in the design of our project, making sure that we do comply with the design guidelines of the Inter-Vista District. And so with that being said, I think Leighton already made the point that there are a lot of infrastructure costs that come with the site itself, but in addition, the Inter-Vista District has a lot of design requirements that we're very excited about because we think that they add value to our project and for our students. One of the things that we are doing to help alleviate some of the traffic concerns is we will be offering bike parking in the structure. So we're hoping to encourage the use of bicycles. And also there is a bus stop on Williams, and we're hoping to make some improvements over there to encourage use of the transit system as well. So we're very excited to be here, and thank you again for hearing our request.
Thank you. Thank you, Bethany. So you operate at least, not that familiar with your company, you operate two others. Do you operate, sorry. Do you own some others throughout the country, or is it just these two in Indiana and Ohio?
Oh, no, we have, so currently we have projects in Indiana, Ohio, Boise, Idaho, let's see, in Columbia, Missouri, in St. Louis, Missouri. So we have about 13 or 14 current projects in operation right now, and another 7 or 8 in development, and a handful in construction as well.
That's a lot. How does this density request relate to some of your other projects, just generally speaking? Is this about average, or?
As far as the size of the project itself, projects can range anywhere from, and we usually speak in beds when we're speaking about student housing as opposed to units, because the unit size can range from a studio to up to a 6-bedroom unit. And our projects range anywhere from, 400 to 1,000 beds. It really just depends on the location and the density allowances in those communities, and financially what makes sense with the cost of construction and things of
Would you
that
say this
nature.
is comparable to your other projects as far as the density, or I guess that's a difficult question to
It's difficult, but
answer?
I would say it's very comparable, absolutely.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for your presentation. Stay up there for a moment if you would, please, and Leighton, we may ask you to come back up too, but how about some direct questions regarding this matter from the board? Anybody?
I got questions.
Okay. Start, Catherine.
Okay, I guess my first thing is that I go through Blossom Street, and maybe this is more of a question for Mr. Lord, because
It may
he's a
be.
local. I mean, I drive Blossom Street, that area all the time. I live just up the road. And vehicular traffic and pedestrian safety, I mean, it's like how many lanes across there? 8 lanes across, both one direction, and I think 8 the other also. So pedestrian safety is a very real issue. It's a very large intersection. You guys have no plans for any kind of an underpass, overpass, anything like that, or they're just going to do grade crossing
I
pedestrian?
believe the city is planning to improve that, the bridge over.
Oh, no, I know the bridge is being,
Yeah.
the Blossom Street Bridge is a whole nother question. That's coming down and being replaced and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
My question is right at Blossom and UG,
Yeah.
you've got how many lanes that pedestrians are going to have to walk across? That's a large lot of crossing. It seems like a safety issue to me, a pedestrian safety issue, which is
Yeah,
one of our big questions.
So I guess without jumping into something that's slightly above my pay grade as far as traffic engineering is concerned, that's definitely something that we'll be looking into. We've already engaged our traffic engineer a little bit earlier than we normally would, because traffic has come up as a potential concern. So we'll take a look at that, and we of course want it to be safe for our students. So as the traffic is looked at, if there's a recommendation to do some things to create some increased pedestrian safety, we definitely take that very serious, and it's our traffic engineer. If she recommends that we should do those types of things, we will definitely be looking at that.
Okay.
I think that's, the traffic engineer actually identified the same things you did. And on Saturdays, I'm crazy enough to ride a bike across there to West
Yes.
Columbia. And so I've been in that intersection before, and there could be a lot of improvements on it.
Yes, yes.
And luckily, I'll give Bob and his crowd some credit. They've already engaged Seth Rose and some others, because, there's some state roads there that could probably be improved in different ways to increase the safety for pedestrians and for traffic.
Okay. And then, of course, as I mentioned, I live just up Blossom Street from there, and I know that when, they opened the Greek Village, it's a parking lot there because none of the students, it seems, they all want to drive there to eat. Yeah. None of them ride their bikes everywhere like you do. So I guess I'm concerned that, while they don't come and go at 9 to 5, they certainly come and go an awful lot, and they're not always as prudent as they could be. And I know that it's been raised in one of the letters from, I believe, Mr. Guile about the ingress and egress on Williams Street. Plus, of course, the issues down, farther down. I also like to go to Granby Park, and you have to come out Williams Street. That's the only way out,
Right.
really. Do you have any comments, or is that just a traffic engineering, either of you, on that? Because, that just seems like that does,
I think
it's a real
fair
issue.
to say that the TIA is going to get worked on, and we're going to have to follow that.
It's all part of the process. as I
Just step to the
understand
mic,
it.
please, I'm sorry.
Yes, as, you know, as part of the process, we're required to have this traffic impacts analysis completed and then approved by both SCDOT and the city, because we are flanked by 3 state roads and 1 city road. So once that TIA is completed, it will be reviewed by SCDOT as well as the city, and then a final determination on the correct recommendations for our use and the density will, you know, be concluded at you know, the finish of that review.
Okay, and in terms of feasibility, I guess you feel that from a marketing perspective, you have to have 500 parking spaces in a garage?
Yeah,
As opposed to
yes.
having them take the Comet?
Yeah, as we do our market analysis of the city and as of the other student housing projects in the area and what is expected of our market, yes, that we do anticipate that this is something that we need. At this point, I couldn't really speak to the traffic patterns until I see the traffic impact analysis, but as far as our need and the marketability of the project, yes, this is the kind of the parking count that we would need.
I would almost ask that in the opposite direction, rather than could you do it with less?
Right.
It almost seems like you need more for 960 beds and you've got 500 parking spaces. You know, is that ratio?
Yes, and I would suggest that we could be slightly underparked, and so from a marketability standpoint, there are some challenges, and that is part of the reason that we're taking a look at the bus stop, right? Doing some improvements over there to encourage the use of the transit. I don't know if you've driven past there. There's a bus stop there, but you wouldn't know it. There's no bus shelter. It's kind of in the weeds and things. I don't know who uses that bus at this point, but we want to do what we can to encourage the use of that transit. And I think with a lot of the pedestrian improvements that we'll be making all around the entire building due to the design requirements and design guidelines of the Innovista, I think that we'll be able to encourage some of that use by doing that. Sure.
No, this is still on. What's the likelihood that, I know that you're working with the city and you're waiting on a traffic study to come back, and say that traffic study requires some type of pedestrian walkway or bridge because of, there's very little, what we would call a buffer there between the sidewalks and the traffic already at that intersection. And if it comes back that way, how committed do you think Subtext is to being able to work with the city and the citizens in that area to create some type of, to be able to work with the city if that was something that you all had to do? What is Subtext's position there?
Sure. So when it comes to the recommendations of the traffic impact analysis, we'll take very seriously those recommendations. And at the end of the day, for us, what will happen is it will be a balance of, will the project still remain viable financially? If there are certain expenses that come into play that truly make the project no longer viable, then we wouldn't continue to pursue the project. So those are always things that we have to, it's a balance. And I think at this point, we are committed to going through the process that we're required to go through as far as getting that traffic impact analysis completed, have it reviewed, come to an agreement on what the correct mitigation will be for whatever the traffic concerns might be, and then put dollars to that to see if it still makes sense for the project to happen. And I guess this is, there's different checkpoints, and this is kind of our first checkpoint. If we can get this density, then it makes sense for us to continue forward. If we can't get the density, it really doesn't make sense for us to continue forward and continue to spend dollars on the due diligence on such things as the traffic impact analysis and things of that nature. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. As Bethany said, the traffic analysis has been accelerated and brought forward because we know there are concerns about it. But Subtext's earnest money goes hard fairly soon, and they've got to decide if this is a feasible project. So that's why we're before you all today. We also have DDRC and Planning Commission, which actually won't happen for 4 or 5 months. So there's a big period of time when these traffic issues can be discussed and looked at before DDRC and Planning Commission. But Bethany and her team are trying to figure out if the project's viable. And with the density, it's viable, possibly. The traffic impact study could come back and make recommendations that make it unviable. But this is a threshold determination.
Thank you.
I suppose the other question that comes to mind is the one about proliferation, the issue of proliferation of uses of the same use all around, which of course there are plenty of student housing projects all around, including one that I really worked hard to make happen, the Palmetto Compress Warehouse. I mean, the question is, what's the area? I mean, if you consider the area also as the very charming historic Granby Mill Village, it would potentially be detrimental to that mill village. I can see where that might happen, and I suspect that may be where some of the opposition is going to come from. But I mean, it does seem that that is a proliferation of uses of the same special exception use.
Well, you have to ask, where's the best place for this, right? Because this university keeps bringing in new students, and they're projected to keep bringing in new students. If Subtex and PMC and those guys don't build private student housing, the university is going to build it, and it's not going to be in the tax rolls. So, and the university will build it wherever they want to build it, because they have a little bit more power than private developers. As you well know, the university was heading towards your neighborhood for many, many years,
Right.
and then made the strategic decision to head towards the river.
Right.
Because there's plenty of land. And I would much rather see a student housing development on a slightly blighted corner with a gas station than in neighborhoods like where you live, on Green Street.
Sure,
It's a choice, but this is a good place. It's walkable to the university, it's walkable to the baseball stadium, it seems to be in the center of the university, center of the Innovista. So the question is for the city, you know, where do they want it? And the Innovista district seems to want it here.
Do you have any letters from the Innovista, the Vista people, I guess? It's still the Vista Guild or whatever, whoever. You don't have any support from the neighborhoods?
Well, when we get into the design, DDRC and Planning Commission and things like that, we will definitely meet with neighborhoods and talk with those folks about that. We don't have enough of a design to really, as you know, they want to see what it looks like. We're
Yeah.
slightly hypothetical right now,
Right.
but working with the city and working with them on that.
I got a question. Y'all mentioned the city, the comment shuttle. USC has a shuttle service as well for students. Have y'all engaged them at all? Because I could see, you know, for this particular development, the people who would be living here would want to use the USC shuttle more so than the
The USC shuttle's been integrated with the Comet now.
with the comment.
Yeah.
Okay, so it would be coming to the spot. Okay.
Hopefully, if the bus stop that Bethany's team is committed to, what do you say?
Put a bus shelter.
It doesn't really exist now. It's just
Yeah.
like it's a
Yeah.
sign. If they make it something attractive, maybe kids will use it and see
Yeah.
it there. So that's the hope. It's in their budget.
Okay.
Is it on the soda cap? Is it on the soda cap connector? Do you know?
I don't know that. It's not.
Good? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Appreciate your presentation. Thank you. That was very good. All right, at this time, we'd like to open it up for public input. Who would like to go first? Mr. Guild?
Good afternoon, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm Bob Guild, and I live at 314 Pall Mall Street in the Granby neighborhood. This is a personal experience for me regularly. And I'm here speaking on behalf of the Mill District Alliance and the Granby Neighborhood Association. I've been pleased to talk to Leighton and now his client, but only over the last couple of days because the project just dropped on us and we really haven't had an opportunity to do more than just very preliminary investigation. Short and long of it is I think the developer is putting the cart before the horse. In order to comply with your special exception ordinance as a matter of law, they have to demonstrate no significant adverse impact on traffic, vehicular or pedestrian safety. Now, that's a precondition now, that's not a promise for the future. So it's all well and good to say, we'll look into this, we'll do a study, we care about this. I'm confident that they're sincere about that, but that doesn't address the deficiency in the application today. And we've asked them to defer this item at least for a month so that we could work with them and others. We know these are two DOT streets, Blossom and UG. The city doesn't control the signalization or the design of the intersections. DOT does. And in order to have any chance of mitigating these adverse traffic impacts, 500 more cars at the least, that's the garage, dumping onto the wheat and UG or the the Williams and Blossom intersection. They're already substantially impaired. I can testify to that. They're going to make significantly worse, and there is no assurance whatsoever that there are any mitigation measures that actually will be adopted. Let me just say that my neighborhood, the Mill District Alliance, has a long history of cooperative working relationships with private dorm developers. We're proud of the renovation of the Olympia and Granby Mills, the Palmetto Compress Warehouse. These are precisely the kind of projects we support. But the City of Columbia, to the extent that we in the city encourage private dorm development, we simply have to provide the infrastructure and services to support them, or the existing residents suffer. I'd like to just share with you, if I may, a primitive handout of intersection photographs. If you could put up that site plan that was up just a moment ago, that actually showed the proposed parking garage, and you can see there's the entrance to the project, as they say in their submission for special exception, is on Wheat Street. And so those 500 cars will be coming out onto Wheat Street. And the first item, I'm sorry I don't have copies for everybody, but the first item is a photograph I took yesterday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and 3 cars are already staged to turn left into the project across the street. That's now called Park Place. But the traffic impact study that I shared with you was done for that project, for Park Place. And they said this intersection, as a result of that project, in 2012, would be reduced to the very lowest efficiency standard for a traffic intersection that was not signalized, and that's a grade F. A through F is the scale, F is the worst. This intersection was rated worst in the study that I submitted to you. Now, that was 10 years ago. Things are gotten much worse since then because there are additional student projects that have to use that very same intersection. The intersection is depicted on the second photograph I took. This is a Apple map photo, so it's not yesterday, it's just what the mapping program shows. Wheat and UG is unsignalized. It consists of 7 lanes. There are 2 southbound lanes that are nearest to the turning out of this project. There's a 1 turning lane in the middle where you saw the 3 cars turning into the Park Place project. Then there are 2 left turn lanes going across Blossom Street. Then there's 1 straight northbound lane taking you up UG toward the interstate. And then there's a right turn lane that takes you onto Blossom. So for me to get to the university neighborhood in my car at that intersection, which I use every day, I have to cross 6 lanes of traffic in order to get to the 7th lane, which is the right turn lane. And I might wait a long time and see that there are cars staged to turn into the Park Place student housing dorm, and then I have to wait another cycle for them to clear that turn lane. It's a very dangerous intersection now. As you can see, it has no turning lane. There's just a stop sign there. That's a potential signalized opportunity that would mitigate the impacts of this project. Real quickly.
Yeah, we'll give him a couple more minutes as spokesperson.
The other two intersections that we use are Catawba and UG and Williams and Blossom. Let's talk about Williams and Blossom. I count 5 lanes, but 2 bicycle lanes there. And you all know what that's like. Coming across the Blossom Street Bridge, traffic moves very, very fast. In order to get across a left turn lane to go to Casey, I have to wait for an opening in those 2 fast-moving eastbound lanes. And then I have to hope that nobody is pulled into the turn lane that's in the center. And needless to say, there are 2, as Leighton knows, there are 2 bike lanes there too, that one of which straddles the traffic lanes. It's a very dangerous intersection. So my point really is this: if there's any hope of meeting this special exception requirement to have no substantial adverse impact on traffic, vehicular, and pedestrian safety, these intersections have to be changed and signalized to manage a 500-car garage at this location. There is no showing whatsoever of any commitment to mitigate these measures, And in fact, the only showing they make under that criteria is an acknowledgement that the garage will enter on Wheat Street. That's not evidence at all. I submit to you, the only evidence you have is the traffic study from 2012, which already tells you that that Wheat Street intersection has an unacceptable level of service, one that is already dangerous, one that will only be made substantially more dangerous by a 500-car garage less than a block away. So happy to answer any questions, but I very much appreciate you helping.
Thank you for your testimony, Mr. Gall. Let me ask you real quick before you go. This is not a technical question, but something that I heard. I want to make sure procedurally we're correct. So you mentioned you just learned of the project a couple of days ago.
I learned about it when there was the draft agenda came out,
Okay.
Ms. Dinkins, and I think that's, a week and a half ago.
Sure.
And then talked to, I think I tracked Leighton down and got a copy of the application. But the bottom line is, you only publish your agendas less than
Right.
a week before.
But I'm always trying to make sure, of course, so it was posted properly, correct,
Yes.
Hope? Is that
I think it
right?
was, yeah. I
Okay,
don't-
all
I
right, I
doubt
just want to
that.
make sure that.
Yeah, I don't
that
doubt
would
that
be
at all.
grounds for some sort of a
Yeah.
possible deferral for another month, but.
Yeah, and Mr. Chairman, I would just say that I don't know whether the BOZA deems it within your authority, but, in boards of commissions that we've been on before, planning commissions,
That's right.
we've asked developers or applicants to defer a matter to meet with a community and try to work through these things.
We have.
I don't know if they have the authority to do that, but, we would request that opportunity. We are not objecting to this project.
Right.
We think density and high-quality development, even more private student dorms, are okay. We support them. We just know we have to have the infrastructure and services
Right.
to make them a livable, positive contribution to our neighborhood.
Thank
So,
you for your testimony, as always.
Thank you
Appreciate your
very much.
opinions very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All the stuff that you've done for us. Okay, who's next? Mr. Daniel, I think you came in after, I think you need to be sworn. You came in after we'd already sworn.
Yeah.
witnesses. All right, please raise your right hand. Do you affirm or attest that the testimony you'll give today is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Just a couple of brief comments. I live in the Wales Garden, in the Wheeler Hill neighborhood. When the university was doing the South Campus project, they involved the Wheeler Hill, the Wales Garden, and the Hollywood Rose Hill neighborhoods. And one of the first things out of the box that they did was a traffic study to alleviate any concerns those three neighborhoods had about where were the 1,800 students going to go that were initially proposed. Really, it was 3,600. So again, I sort of agree with the last speaker that we really need to know that before we approve special exceptions. You also need to, my office for 10 years was at the corner of Tryon and Haywood Street in the old Olympia Mills. My typical ways of going out were, if I was going, a lot of times I'd just go down William Street and turn right. As has been noted, that's a very busy intersection to get in and out of. The Wheat Street intersection is the same way because you typically got people at either of those lights at Blossom going east or turning at Blossom Street. So that's something that really needs to be studied on the front end. I'd also bring to your attention that the River's Edge at Carolina Stadium Housing Complex is on Catawba, and that's 486 beds in that complex. There are 1,900 beds in the Olympia Mills complex. Granted, they've got 4 different ways they can go, but when I was at the corner of Tryon and Hayward, there was a lot of traffic. And there's a lot been built since then. So I really agree with Mr. Guile that they really need to do a little bit more preliminary study before they ask for these special exceptions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Dinkins, could I ask Mr. Daniel a
Yes.
question?
Please come back up, Mr. Daniel.
Hi, Jim, you know a lot about what's going on, I think, in terms of the housing and student enrollments and that. What I have been told, I understand that actually enrollments are dropping. Is that?
Right, no,
Have you heard
they're
that?
still shooting for 6,000 or 7,000 a year. The university still thinks that the cliff drop-off in 2 to 3 years is not going to affect them. Who knows? They seem to think that the schools that are going to be affected are the small private schools. But there is the potential that the student enrollment will start dropping in 2 to 3 years as the latest boom backs out. So how it's going to affect us, I don't know. My little calculations are, if you look at the total beds available in student housing It's over 15,000. Granted, the area out in the Bluff Road area is really suffering. Most of the ones that are walkable are either full or almost at full capacity. The ones across the river seem to be doing well. So there's still a need for it. You've got the university opening a new one about the same time this would probably open, with 960 beds there. So, and I included those in. If you add the university's newer projects, the ones on Lincoln Street and in the campus village, we're over 20,000 student beds in our community without including a lot of other stuff.
Thank you very much for your testimony.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
that. Okay, who'd like to go next?
I'll get someone.
Mine kind of re-logged itself in.
Mine cycled too.
Mine kind of logged itself around, and at one point it was taking a picture of me, which was not pretty.
Yeah.
Sorry to derail you.
It was very strange.
Yes, you absolutely will. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Guess everybody's going to have to pay a little more attention, huh? No, just kidding. We'll get it working. We'll get it working.
I've got the submission.
We'll get it working.
See what I need to see.
On your phone, my goodness. I can barely, I want to bring a real iPad. Yeah. I wish it were this side of Eugene. It'd be a lot easier for me to deal with.
So are y'all good?
Were you able to, okay.
We're good. We can share.
All right, let's get back to it. Okay,
Good,
so
okay.
that will conclude the public input part. Is that correct? We don't have any more input from the public, not the applicant, correct? Okay, so now, correct, we would like to ask the applicant to come back up, and you have 5 minutes for rebuttal.
Thank you all for your presentation. One thing I'll note is we're very different than the project across the street, because yesterday I acted like a student, and I drove from the university to this site. You can make a left-hand turn at the light on Blossom and Hugie. That's not that hard. And then it's all right-hand turns. And a student's going to make a right-hand turn on the Blossom to go back to campus. He or she may go to Lexington County at some point, but generally they're going to head towards 5 Points. One of the things we can do is we can control that by requiring only right-hand turns out of the parking garage. So if there's only a right-hand turn out of the parking garage, then there'll never be a left-hand turn onto Hugie. And that's one of the things that we've looked at. And I know Mr. Guile asked for maybe a deferral. We would suggest a better route would be to approve it conditioned on the city approving our traffic impact analysis. And I tell you that because we are trying to figure out the viability of this project. In 1 month, that analysis won't be complete. So I'm not sure we'll know a whole lot more if we defer this a month. If we defer it 2 or 3 or 4 months, then we're probably out of the project. But if you make it conditioned on our TIA being acceptable to the city, we're okay with that, because we're not going to move forward unless it's an acceptable traffic impact analysis.
Yes, I would just add that that would be acceptable to us to have that conditioned upon our TIA, since that is part of the process, and it does need to be approved by both SCDOT and the city, or we can't move forward with the project anyway, because that is an approval that is required, so.
Yeah, I guess before you both leave, that is understandable. I mean, anytime we have a delay in a project, I mean, that is not good for the project. It's just, that's the fact. Everyone understands that. From some of the testimony that we've heard today, I guess I would push back on that a little bit and say that I would think, based on my experience, this may be a case where a 1-month deferral may be beneficial for your overall goals. I'm concerned that if we don't, you may not have the votes. I don't know how the vote is going to come down today.
The option is vote down or deferral. We'll take the deferral.
I don't know that. I don't know that. I got a feeling after doing this for a long time that that may be in your best interest.
Could I?
No, not yet. So, just before we move into board discussion, just want to throw that out there. Again, I don't know what Catherine's going to vote, what we're all going to vote, but
Well,
I got a feeling a month would help you.
if it's the will of the board to defer it a month, we'll accept that also.
I think that would be a good idea.
Could-
Go ahead.
My one suggestion is that I believe that Mr. Guile suggested that he might feel more comfortable in 1 month, and you might get his support, which would be powerful to us, would be very powerful for us.
So,
That's the one advantage that you might get from the deferral. I recognize your timing issue otherwise.
If that's the will of the board, we'll accept that.
okay. All right, well then, thank you. In that case, I'd like to make a motion with the applicants, make a motion on behalf of the applicant that we defer this matter 1 month. Second?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. All right, well, motion passes. All right, thank you all. Appreciate it. Look forward to you two getting together and seeing what we can come up with. All right. I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
Oh,
Move to adjourn.
we-
Motion
Wait, no,
second.
we can't adjourn. We can't adjourn. Sorry, I withdraw my motion.
We have other business, but we can wait until, it's elections, board elections, so if you want to wait until the
Okay, I
audience
thought
leaves.
you were waiting until next month. Okay, good.
Sorry, we did think at one time that we weren't going to have enough board members here to vote.
Gotcha.
But I think we've got 6 out of 7, so I think we're good.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
You want to proceed or let
Yeah.
people?
Y'all can watch us if you want.
I'm out.
Yeah.
It's a public
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah.
Y'all can watch us vote if you
Yeah,
want.
so,
No.
and just to say, thank you, Gene.
You're welcome.
Of course, this is your last meeting,
Yep.
so thank you for your service on the board.
You're welcome.
You've done a great job, so
Appreciate that.
we really appreciate
Been
all your
an
time.
enjoyable time. Well, thank you. It's been a great learning experience. Enjoyed working with everyone. I was telling someone earlier, this is my 12th year in a row being on a city board, so I'm ready for a little break. So Bob and I served together for years on the planning commission, and then I rolled straight into this. But really, it's been a great, valuable, rewarding learning experience. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. But with that being said, y'all can have it.
All right, so we'll
Thanks
give you
for
a break
leaving us on
then.
that deferral.
We'll play him as exit music now. I'm not sure what it is. but-
All right, what y'all gonna do now?
Yeah.
Okay, so some of you emailed nominations to me ahead of time. If you want to do, but I know, Ms. Fenner, you wanted to discuss, I think, here in person about if anyone wants to make a nomination.
I just wanted to know, I wanted to talk to people in person and see where people were on
Yeah.
things. So that was the only reason why I was doing it. I don't have any particular candidate in mind or anything, so. I understand, Marcellus, you're not going to finish the next, you're done in September,
I believe October.
October?
October.
Yeah, okay, so you wouldn't be here the whole year.
Looks like it. Maybe not.
Okay. Okay. So you have nominations, Hope?
I do. And we can either do ballots, I've got some ballots, or you can just do vote by voice. It doesn't, however you want to do it. Let's see, let me find my. Okay, so for chair,
How many nominations do we have?
well, for chair, we've got two nominations. So we've got John Gregory for chair and also Celia McIntosh for chair are the 2 nominations.
Do you want to be nominated? Okay. Okay.
What about vice chair? What do we have? for
Yeah, so for vice chair, John Ginyard for vice chair, and Catherine Finner for vice chair.
Okay.
I'm down for whatever y'all want to do. Do we just want to vote on who
Yeah.
the nominations are?
Why don't you hand out paper? Sometimes it's hard to say
Paper ballot.
opinions. Yeah, why don't you hand out paper? and let
That's
everyone
true.
write
People
down
get
how
hard
they
feelings.
Not for me. I don't have a problem with
I don't
it.
have a problem with it.
It's difficult when you're in front of
When
everybody.
there's
You know?
too many, like I didn't know how many we had, because sometimes you end up in like the
Yeah, exactly, exactly. We could do
Between
ranked,
two, somebody will.
we could do ranked choice voting.
I mean,
I remember what my
yeah,
email
so many
said. I don't have a
options.
problem. It's not that big a deal. To me,
You could just hand us pieces of paper and we could write down who we wanted. You could just hand us pieces of paper and we can write down.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might get write-ins.
Does John vote remotely? Or since he's not here, does he not get a vote?
no.
So he
No
can't
vote.
even, he can't vote for himself, I guess.
What's that?
He can't even vote for himself.
Wait, don't we just put,
I mean, no,
There's only
since
one
he's
piece of
absent, he
paper.
can't.
Okay.
I
You
think
wouldn't
you just
have a
put a
vote.
mark.
But,
Because we can't have
you
five.
know,
so-
unfortunately, trying to have everyone here,
Six.
it's tough,
Only
so.
two.
We just pass it down.
Yeah, I don't have a pen.
Here you go. I got a picture. Here you go.
No, it's just only two sheets of paper. So I was, oh, everybody gets their own sheet of paper. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Oh, my bad. I didn't know
Why
that.
don't you just give us pieces of paper to just write it in? We can,
Yeah.
okay. So, I think they're,
Thank you.
Oh, that was yours?
That's me.
I thought somebody else handed me that.
No,
Man, I'm sorry.
no, you're all good. All good.
It's been a long day.
Catherine and I do.
I got one. I took one here.
No, I'm not voting. I'm voting?
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna need somebody's pen. Yeah.
NA. is my-
NA.
All right, I've got a piece of paper. All right, I got one, Hope. I got a piece of paper. Yeah, I got it. I got it. I got it.
Still gonna love you, however it shakes out.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. I should do it.
All right,
Doesn't really matter.
there you go. Thank you.
Okay.
Here's your pen back.
Now we get the music.
So much to count up.
Sing it, Catherine.
Is that? It's cool.
We could also sing the City of Columbia song. That's the next thing we're gonna do. Okay, we've got a flag. We have a flag, and we're gonna have a T-shirt.
My son? Yeah, it's him over there. He actually, job
I
shadowed.
think we may have an official animal for all I know.
Yeah, he's pooped. He tapped out at about 3 o'clock. He was like, Dad.
Official animal.
Just laying down in my office. I was like, all right, I think he's like, yeah, Dad.
Official hospitality.
It was awesome. I enjoyed it. It was just great being with him all day.
One is sweet tea and one
I'm saying what I do all day.
which is which.
Yeah, he was great. I was like, see, this is why I have coffee
All
at
that.
2:30. Because I got to keep going.
Right, exactly. You can't check out.
I can't check out.
You can't check out.
He used to literally laying on the carpet. It was hilarious.
That's by the time you get out of school. So
Yep, that's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yep.
that's when they hit the wall.
Something's wrong.
Okay, so we have a tie for vice chair.
All right. Okay.
That's funny.
Oh, we got a tie. It's 1, 2, 3, 4,
There's 6
5.
of us.
Oh, 6 of us. That's how we got to.
What's that?
Miscounted.
When they added,
When they added,
yeah.
Yeah, we can either hold off, well, yeah, we might as well, we could do chair now
I
and
will,
then.
I will stand down in favor of Mr. Gignard. Whatever you want. Well, actually, nobody's checked with Ginyard, so we might as well wait till next month.
6
Yeah.
years. 6 years.
Yeah, so we want to wait till next month on
We'll wait until next month.
vice
You
chair.
wanted to talk about, because I'm thinking
Okay.
about going here to the planning.
Ridiculous.
But I'd love to talk to you about
Language is a lot of fun. Get together one day.
it. I'd love to, I'd love to.
All right,
Okay. So we do have a new chair.
okay?
John Gregory, congratulations.
Thank y'all.
Very good.
Look forward to working with y'all.
Very good.
Kevin,
Good, good, good,
Celia,
good,
you
good.
too.
Excellent,
All right.
excellent.